Most B2B sales teams waste thousands of dollars on lead lists that don't even have working mobile numbers. So instead of your team spending hours every day calling dead lines, in this video, we're gonna go over how to get up to 85% valid mobile numbers. We'll go over how to cut your cost per lead, and we'll go over how we can even double or maybe triple your current connect rate. Because I've tested every major platform out there for you, like ZoomInfo, Apollo.io, and even clay.com. So I'll show you exactly which tools deliver and which tools fail to deliver. So let's get into it. So let's first start off with the two major platforms, your zoominfo.com and apollo.io. These are the major platforms that most people kind of default to without any sort of knowledge of other tools that could be better. These are the default options, these two right here. The good thing about these two databases is because they are massive. There's advanced filters, and you can find a lot of contacts, and you can get very specific with the contacts that you find. It's very easy to use for beginners, and you can pull very large contact lists very fast. But here's where a few things might fall apart if you are cold calling. So just as an example, go to your browser real quick, and what I would recommend is typing in apollo.io and then just type in lead scraper. As you can see right here, there are a lot of these scraping tools that can essentially scrape Apollo for pennies on the dollar. So right here, this person is charging $1.20 for 1,000 leads from apollo.io. This is an Apify, which is essentially a web scraping tool. Right now, they're charging, again, $1.20 for 1,000 leads. Another vendor that can do this, which can essentially just scrape Apollo for pennies on the dollar, is searchleads.co. So again, their pricing is absolutely ridiculous. It is so cheap, because they're essentially scraping the back end of Apollo, $3 for 1,000 leads. And if we go over to apollo.io's pricing really quickly, check out their pricing right here. So if we go to monthly billing, they're charging $100 per user per month, and you only get about 4,000 credits per month. So there aren't really a lot of use cases where I would recommend using Apollo for building your lead lists, or especially building validated lead lists for cold calling. And when it comes to the pricing of both of these tools, apollo.io, like I just showed you, you can literally scrape their backend for pennies on the dollar. So what that means is the leads that you do end up using are going to be used by thousands and tens of thousands of other users because it's so cheap. And on the ZoomInfo side, like we all know just how expensive ZoomInfo actually is, but their pricing is, again, you can get an annual subscription, and is very expensive for small business owners who don't have, $20,000 a year budget. And if you do end up cold calling these leads, a lot of the times the accuracy of the mobile numbers is not going to be good at all. So you might get anywhere between 10 to 20% valid mobile numbers. You're going to get a lot of office lines and landlines. And what sucks with their pricing is you're paying credits per contact. And it doesn't even matter, you're still paying if their mobile number isn't correct. And when it comes to the ugly, just quickly touching on their email data, you're gonna get a very high bounce rate if you are using either ZoomInfo or Apollo for cold email data. So if your B2B sales team is calling hundreds of leads every single day and nobody's picking up, this is exactly why. This is like spending your sales team's budget. So however much money you're paying for your entire sales team, this is like putting that entire budget into them just knocking on doors in the neighborhood. But that neighborhood has been abandoned for years. So you're spending all that money, all that time, all that effort only for them to just talk with ghosts. Like they're not talking with customers. They're not talking with potential customers. So to summarize, use this method only if you're doing bulk contact discovery. So you're just finding contacts. And what I would recommend is using third-party tools for companies like apollo.io. But if you truly care about a mobile-led growth for your company and your team having success with cold calling, it simply won't cut it. Quick story. So last quarter, I worked with an 8-person sales team of a SaaS company, and they were struggling with exactly this. They spent about 40 grand a year on ZoomInfo, and they were burning through lead lists. Each of the 8 sales reps would do 50 cold calls a day, and then they do 50 cold emails, and then 50 LinkedIn connection requests. But they were barely booking any meetings. It was kind of embarrassing. Just how much volume they were doing, but there was so little output. We completely destroyed their current process, and we built a brand new one with a tool called clay.com as their command center. And within a couple of weeks of them using this new tool, every single one of their reps was having about 5 to 10 new conversations every single day with their ideal customers because they finally had accurate mobile data. So if you want to do exactly what they did, follow what I'm about to show you inside of clay.com. So this template here is what's going to be linked in the description below. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and click on this link. I've already built a mobile waterfall for you. So what does that mean? All we have to do is add in LinkedIn URLs of the leads that we're trying to go after. From there, tools like findmail.com and several other tools are going to find the mobile number of these leads based off of their LinkedIn URL. And how this works is, since Findmail is at the top of the waterfall, if Findmail does find a mobile number, it is not going to push to the other softwares. It's only going to use that one mobile that Findmail found. But if Findmail does not find a mobile number, it is going to go to the next one. And if it does find one, it's going to stop. If it doesn't, it's going to keep going down this kind of ladder until it does find a valid mobile phone number. That is how awesome Clay is. But that is essentially your command center. Findmail is your engine. Findmail is going to be the first step in this enrichment because it is the most accurate and it has the widest coverage across the United States. So go ahead and click create table using template and add it to your workspace. So all I'm going to do right now, since I already have a CSV, is go to actions, import, and then import from CSV. I'm going to select all of these columns, and then I just need to make sure that this LinkedIn profile, which is a column inside of the CSV, I want that to match with this column right here, if you can see my cursor. So I need to type in LinkedIn URL right here. So now that that is good to go, I'm going to add to table, and I'm going to click save and don't run because I want to run around 10 or 20 rows before we run the whole thing, just to make sure that it works properly without us actually wasting any sort of credits. So here's our Clay table, here's the LinkedIn URLs, and then here's all the other rest of the information. So right here, all we're going to do right now is start running these rows. So I would just say, hey, let's run 30 rows right now. So as soon as this runs, it is essentially going out and finding a mobile number for these leads, which is pretty awesome. Or if you don't want to pay clay.com, and let's just say, for example, you don't even want to do this mobile waterfall, what you can do is head over to app.findmail.com. And once you create an account, go to the phone finder section right here and do the same exact process. Just upload your CSV. What it's going to do is the same exact thing inside of Clay. But with this, we can actually use other tools as kind of like a fallback option. But the good part is that we don't have to pay clay.com either $149 a month or $349 a month. We can just go directly to the source, which is Findmail. If you go the Findmail route, you get clean, verified mobile numbers without actually setting anything up or needing other tools. All you do is upload your CSV and then you're good to go. And if you did want to use Findmail for your mobile numbers, it is crazy cost effective in bulk. So if you wanted to get 1,500 verified mobile numbers, the pricing for that is $250, which is crazy if you think about it. If you wanted to get 10,000 mobile numbers, let's say you have a cold calling team, that is $849. That comes out to about 8.5 cents per verified number. And again, with Findmail, you have industry leading verification and accuracy. So try it yourself and let me know what you think. Clay.com's workflow does give you that flexibility, but the accuracy really comes down to your data source. That's why a lot of Clay.com users put Findmail at the very top of their waterfall for emails and mobiles. So in 2025, instead of using ZoomInfo and getting 10-20% valid mobiles, you're using a combination of two very powerful tools, Clay.com and Findmail. Clay is your command center, Findmail as your engine, as your data source. Using those two tools, you'll see around 50 to 60% valid mobiles, which is a massive jump. And this isn't just more data, this is better data. So your team or yourself will connect with more prospects, which leads to more demos, which leads to more pipeline. Because at the end of the day, we all want results, and these tools give you that. So if you want the same workflow that we use for our own clients, powered by Findmail with clay.com, click the link in the description below. You'll get the exact clay.com template that I used in this video, and we'll even give you a little discount off of Findmail's mobiles if you wanted to try it out. So to summarize, the difference between 20% valid mobiles and 60, 70, 80% valid mobiles is not just a bigger number. It's the difference between burning through lead lists and actually having conversations with your ideal customers, which is everything. So check out this video on screen if you're still using Sales Navigator and Apollo in 2025 and want to see how they compare to other tools. See you in the next video.